Uh, yeah, I mean, things have been quiet, obviously, and it's difficult. And that's one of the questions I had. How do we best approach, our neighbors? I mean, I know getting into my car this morning on my way to work, one of my neighbors was walking. He said, "Hi there, and let's get rid of him." And he obviously realized I've been his precinct captain and I've been around, and that was good. That was gratifying. But somehow we've got to reach out, or I've got to reach out even more.
So this is exactly why you're here tonight, Ernie, because we've got a new project.
Okay, good, Liz.
And let me just briefly say a little bit about it. I see Melissa's already here. So Melissa was going to be, I'm sure everyone knows Malissa Uribe, but just briefly, what our goal is tonight is to educate everyone to the PDI, which is the online system for voter registration. And David has modified it a bit. So our goal is to contact the people in our precinct that are registered Democrats, of course, but people that are not registered to vote by mail. So that's our target audience for this project. So I've got Melissa on the line. She's there. She's going to talk to us about changing voter registration to go to mail-in ballots. And there's a number of ways to do that. She's going to talk about that. Then she's got, little guys at home, so she needs to drop off. And then David will educate us on the changes for PDI. And you guys are going to like it. It's going to be the slickest thing there ever was. I just can't believe how easy it is. So like David said, we've recorded this. We're going to record this. So I'm hoping to get more and more people to work from home and do this. It's just going to be making phone calls. So the information that David's going to, I'll tell you that later. So Melissa, do you want to go ahead and start discussing about how to change it from a polling site where you actually make, do your check off the blanks in your ballots versus mail-in?
Yeah. So hi, everybody. For those that I haven't met before, for those that I have, good to see everyone. Hope everyone's staying safe. So we're going to go over two different ways to change folks to permanent absentee voters. One through the voter registration form, but the second way is as we're, practicing social distancing. If you have neighbors who, rather do things online, I'll show you the online process as well. And it's actually very easy. So I'll start with the form first. So I think has everyone seen a voter registration form?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anyone new to this? Okay, cool. So what you do with the voter registration form is the person that you're talking to pretty much has to re-register. So this whole form has to be filled out. So their name, their age, their date of birth, their driver's license, or last four of their social, their address, their home address. If their mailing address is different from their home address, then they fill out their mailing address as well. If they don't have a physical location that, a physical address for their home, they're homeless, kind of as best as you can describe where their home is. So on the corner of La Paz and, 79 behind the Walmart, or whatever the situation might be. Registration history, they'll pretty much fill out exactly what they filled out already. So their name, their current address, since they're re-registering, their current county, their state, their zip code, their previous, if they weren't already registered Dem, but it sounds like everyone here is speaking to a registered Dem, so just Dem for where it asks in previous political party preference in section 6. And then section 7, that's going to be, I don't know if folks can see, but section 7, that's going to be the new kind of item that they're checking off. So here it asks, I want to get my ballot by mail before each election, and that is where your neighbor has to check off yes. By checking off that yes and submitting this to the county, that makes them now a permanent absentee voter. And then they fill out the rest. So, what political party preference do they want to disclose? And then their voter information, their name, email, language, and ethnicity, race if they'd like to disclose.
May I ask a question?
Melissa, oh, I was going to ask a question too. Go ahead.
I'm a mail-in voter, okay? But that's because I have a handicap. And I didn't know that anybody could be mail-in voters. I thought that they had to have a reason why they were mailing it in. Not so?
No, not so. Anyone can register to be a permanent absentee voter.
Perfect.
Yeah.
My question is, they're already registered, but they have to fill out the whole form all over again. You can't just check off mail-in. So this supersedes. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're
Who do you
welcome.
beat me to it?
Great minds, Ernie, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, good questions. And then lastly, section 6, they sign, they date it. Very important that this has to be in the mail within 3 days after they sign, because it has to go to the county registrar's office in order to count. So again, they sign, they date in the mail within 3 days to get to the county so that they will count this. And then, you know, as we've been doing, we take off this lower kind of section right here, and this stays with your neighbor, and it's essentially their receipt, right? So if they want to go on the Secretary of State's website to check on the status of their registration form or their ballot, you know, when they vote, this is the number that they can check right here on the Secretary of State's website, and they'll be able to find the status of their ballot.
Another question. I have another
ahead.
question, please.
Sure. Yeah.
Is there a list that says who the people are who are mail-in?
Like on PDI?
Somewhere, you know, is there a list of our people who are already
we're going
mail-in
to be
voters?
talking about
So
that
we
in a
don't
little
have
We're going to be
while.
talking, yeah.
All righty, that's fine.
One more question. They mail it in or we mail it in? If they choose
Up to you. I mean, up to you. Usually I like to mail it in for folks if they feel comfortable. If you're having that conversation with your neighbor and they're okay with you mailing it in for them, you know, feel free to mail it in. If they want to mail it in, again, just remind them that it has to be in the mail within 3 days from the date that they sign at the bottom of the form.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Great questions. Any other questions or comments or anything?
We get extra money or points, right, for giving their email address and their, what else?
Yeah, so we get, as a Dem Club, we get money every time we register a Democrat to vote. And we get money for if they check off that they want to be a permanent absentee voter. So if your neighbor feels comfortable with you mailing in their voter registration form for them, take a picture of it and then mail it to Lib or to myself. We can share my email after this call, and then I kind of keep track of all of the voter registration forms that we receive, and then I take care of sending it to the California Dem Party so that they can give us our club some money. So we get money if they register to vote by mail. If they, you know, obviously if they register to vote Democrat, if they share their email and their phone number, we get money for that.
So even though they're registered already, if they register vote by mail permanently, we get extra money.
Exactly. I believe it's 50 cents if they register to vote by mail.
Okay.
Also, Melissa, I wanted to say one thing is just for everyone, Melissa has given me a number of hundred of blank new registration forms. So if you need them, what I will do is you can email me, call me, and I will count out how many you request and put them on my doorstep with your name on them. So we've got it all, Melissa and I had that set up. I know I've given blank forms to different people, but they're also, I'm available for new ones too, so.
Great.
Thanks.
Excuse me. So
Seems
for
like
the second part,
I was just going to say, this is like a great opportunity now to reach out to the people in the precinct to get them to switch from going to the
Republican and
poll.
Democrat.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. And getting them to engage. This is wonderful.
yeah. And you know, again, just because in case folks are feeling uncomfortable, they don't want to have, human interaction at this time, or, face-to-face interaction, we also have an option to register them to, or re-register them to vote, so that they're permanent absentee voters online. And the way we do that is, I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see. It's essentially the form literally online. So give me 1 second, it takes a minute. Okay, can everybody see my screen?
Love that car.
Yeah, thank you. I won't be able to see if anyone posts any questions in the chat box. I won't be able to see it, so please just unmute yourself and ask, because I won't be able to see if you type anything in the chat box. So yeah, so on the Secretary of State's website, there's this registertovote.ca.gov. It's literally the California Online Voter Registration site, and it's essentially the form on website. So you click on Register to Vote Now, or you help your neighbor click on Register to Vote Now, and as if you were filling out the form. So are you a U.S. citizen and resident of California? Yes, I am. Next. So ask the qualifying question again. Are you a citizen and resident of California? Yes. Are you 18 years or older? Yes. Or are you 16 and 17 and want to pre-register? But for this case, because everyone that we're talking to is already probably going to be registered voters, we'll just put that everyone's 18 years or older as an example. I'll fill it out as me. So my name, Uribe. I'll put my email address so we can get the money. Oh, no hyphen. Okay. Date of birth. So you'll notice that everything that has a star is mandatory. So the form won't let you move on unless that section with the asterisk is filled out. So just note that. And you'll see that things that are optional, and same thing on the form, right? The email address and the phone number is optional on the form as well. It is here too. Place of birth, I was born in the US in California. If someone was not born in the US, then you select their foreign country where they were born. There's a drop-down list there. Okay. And then here's the identification. So if they have a California driver's license, we put that. If they don't have a California driver's license, but they remember their last four of their social, then we put the last four of their social here. So for this section, I'm just going to put in my California driver's license. 167614, I believe it is. And I'll just say that I don't have a social, so I don't have to fill it out. My ethnicity, race, Hispanic, my language preference, English. Again, this is all optional. You'll see that there's no asterisk here. And then your street address. So where do I live? Put my address, same as I would on the form. Oh.
We have 10 minutes left.
Oh, sorry. Because it won't let me move on unless I fill all this out. Okay. My mailing address is the same as my home address, so I won't check that off. And I was previously registered or pre-registered to vote, and I would need to fill out this information. I won't check this off for now, just so I don't have to go through it again. But same as the form. So since I was pre-registered already, I select yes, and I input the information that it asks for. I want to disclose my political party preference, and then we move on. And then on the second page, this is where it asks the grant question. I want to get my ballot by mail before each election. Yes. So by selecting that, the person is choosing to become a permanent vote by mail voter. So same as the form, that the section 7 on the form, this is it right here. And then all the other questions, this isn't on the form, but the website asks, do you want to receive your state voter information guide by mail? Sure. Do you want to receive your county voter information guide by mail? Sure. Here, if folks want to volunteer on election day, they have two options. They can be a poll worker, or they can provide a polling place. Did someone help you fill out this form? If you did, you just select yes and put your information. I'll just put no for now. And then here, they're consenting to use your DMV signature to sign the form online. So then you just say yes. And then the affirmation, same as the form, I declare under penalty of perjury that everything that I have just said in the form is correct. Yes, it's correct. You hit next. It's going to give you a summary of everything that you've just filled out. So yes, you're a U.S. citizen. Is this a registration? Yes. All of your information, your address, your party, that you want to become a permanent vote by mail voter. You want to receive your election materials by mail. Did you receive help filling out this form? You consent for the website to use your DMV signature, and then you would hit submit. I'm not going to hit it, but once you hit submit, you just get a confirmation page on the next page. And that's it. And then your neighbor will become a permanent absentee voter. Any questions about that?
How did we find that again? Like, where do we go to get that information?
So I will send you the link.
Do we get paid for if they do it online?
No, so we cannot get paid if we do it online because it doesn't, we can't track that Temecula Valley Democrats were the ones that help them. And then when they submit this online, it just goes straight to the Secretary of State's website. So we don't get a copy of it. When we help them out with the physical copy, we're able to take a picture of it and then send it to me. With this online version, we can't do that. Where's the link?
I was gonna say it.
We have a question over here. Once you're permanent, if somebody says, well, what if I change my mind? They can always change back if they want to.
Yep, they can. They don't have the option to do, I mean, they can do it online as well, but so yeah, they would have to do the whole form again. They have to re-register essentially all over again.
What happens, I'm just playing devil's advocate here, but what happens if they forget that they've done this and then they go to vote? What would happen? Do you know?
If they forget.
At a location.
I know that answer just because I've worked a couple times at the polling sites, and we have a huge printout list of all the different registered voters, and it'll say on there that you're supposed to register always by, to cast your ballot by mail. They just sign a document that says they're not doing that, and then we'll give them a hard copy.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, and I've had, you know, when we're out in the field registering people, we will have folks who ask, you know, what if I still want to mail in my ballot? That's completely okay. Not mail in my ballot, I'm sorry. What if I still want to drop off my ballot? That's okay. You know, sometimes my husband and I will do that, even though we're permanent absentee voters. Either, you know, if we have time, we'll take our ballot to the polling place just to deliver it, and it's okay. You don't have to mail it if you don't want to. You can take it to the polling place or have, you know, your spouse or friend or significant other submit it for you.
I had brought that up. If you take it to the polling place on the day, the odds are it might not get counted in time. Where I was told that it's really important to mail it as soon as possible. Does that make sense?
So it is, I mean, it's always better to mail it in sooner rather than later. As long as it's postmarked on the day of the election, it will get counted.
Okay.
So yeah, so you know, as long as your post office isn't closed and you're taking it, you know, you're putting it in the blue box outside your post office, it won't get counted because they're not going to see it until the next day. But as long as you mail it into your post office and it's the day of the election and they're going to postmark it for that day, it will be counted.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I shared the link in the chat. So it's registertovote.ca.gov. And I think, Liv, we might also share this in a follow-up email, like a summary email to everybody.
Sure.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so pretty easy, right? It's just essentially the form online.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're on mute, Liv.
Oh, sorry. I thought I hit it. Thanks, Melissa. So does anyone else have any questions for Melissa before she might want to drop off? Okay, thanks, Melissa.
You're welcome. Thank you, everybody. Happy
Thank you.
registering. Bye. Have a good one. Stay safe.
Thank you, Melissa.
Bye, Melissa.
Welcome.
How are you
Bye.
feeling?
Good. I'm feeling good.
How far along are you?
I'm 4.5 months now.
Congratulations.
Oh, mazel tov.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, trying to survive in this heat.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay,
All righty,
thanks a
everybody.
lot,
Well, thank
Melissa.
you.
yeah.
You're welcome. Have a good day. Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So let's go ahead and have David talk about PDI. If you have your cell phones handy, we can go through that. And if you don't, it's pretty easy because most people have already used it in the past. There are a few changes that David made it easier to use even, so I think so. Thanks, David.
Okay, well, to start with, we have 2.5 minutes left.
Right.
So I'm going to sign off and then sign on again. In the meantime, if you already have PDI app on your phone and you haven't reinstalled it lately, it's a good time to uninstall it and reinstall it just to make sure you have the latest version. So I'll see you guys in a few minutes.
Okay.